Welcome to the A-State Sports Take Christmas Movie Bracketology Special. I'm your host, Jordan Moore, and joining me today is Colby Wood and Ivan Rash. Today's show combines our passion for sports bracketology and Christmas movies. Let's take a look at our bracket and determine who we think will move on to the next round. So looking at this bracket here, we've got some awesome matchups, but I think first we want to tackle the 1 seed versus the 16 seed. So the favorite versus the hardcore underdog. This is a battle between two all-time classics whenever you look at it, and that is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman. Both of these movies, fantastic in their own right. What do you guys think about these movies? Which one do you think is better than the other? Which one do you think has the edge?
Okay, look, if I'm going to be honest, I think it's definitely Frosty here. I mean, that was a big milestone for Rankin Bass. You know, usually they make stop-motion specials, but that was their first animation special, and let me tell you, it was pretty good, you know. Had a lot of likable characters and some good voice talents, and it had a good sequel in the form of Frosty Returns. Granted, that it being a good sequel might be up for debate, but I think it's pretty good, and to this day, Frosty is one of my all-time favorite Christmas flicks, so I think it's definitely going to have a fighting chance at this.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that makes some really good points. You know, Frosty, of course, has one of the best endings in a Christmas movie of all time as well, so it's really awesome. So, Colby, what do you think about these two movies?
If you have a certain conviction about Frosty, we can let it through, but I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that Rudolph is probably a little bit better. I just love the story of Rudolph, the underdog story of it all, and since we're trying to relate it to sports, it's a underdog film, but it's a first seed, so it probably needs a pass. Isn't it one of the first animation-style movies anyway to do that, to do the claymation kind of look?
I believe it is one of the first.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for that, I got to give it some bonus points.
Yeah, for sure. You know, both of those movies are fantastic. And, you know, I get to break the tie here. We got a 1-1. And, you know, I think both of these movies have a lot to offer. And I think that they're pretty equal on terms of their story and their animation style. You know, both of them are pioneers in their own right. So I think it comes down to realistically which one you prefer. And I feel like if I'm looking at these two movies and I've got them face to face and someone asks me, like, do you want to watch Rudolph or do you want to watch Frosty? Every single time, I'm going to be like, I want to watch Frosty the Snowman.
I see you
because
are a man of culture.
I like Frosty the Snowman more than I like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And that's personally because I watched it a lot more whenever I was a kid, most likely. You know, I have some of those memories attached to it. So, I mean, this is a really tough first round match. You know, I don't feel like these should have been 1 and 16 seed. I feel like these should have been like maybe 1 and 2 or like maybe like a 4 and a 5 situation. But I feel like this is a really tough matchup. And I feel like even though this is an upset, it's not that giant of an upset. I feel like these two movies are pretty evenly matched. So I think we're going to go ahead and push Frosty onto the next round here into the Elite Eight. But let's start talking about our next one. We've got something that is really well known and something that, you know, maybe is a little bit of a niche kind of movie, and that is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, one of the all-time great Christmas movies, and The Muppets Christmas Carol. So I'll send this to you guys once again. What do you guys think about these two movies?
It's Christmas Vacation. That's the winner. It's undoubtedly Christmas Vacation. That's just a classic. That's a movie that you can turn on while you have your family over eating dinner, even on Christmas Day opening presents. You can just have Christmas Vacation running. And it's funny. It's for everybody. It's for all age ranges. That's all I got to say. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, hallelujah. Not going to say the next part. And then where's the Tylenol, baby? Because, I mean, this movie just runs away with this bracket, I feel like. Christmas Vacation is just that type of movie. I think Muppets is a really great Christmas movie in and of itself, but I feel like whenever you look at the competition, the Christmas Vacation probably should have been at the top, one of the big-time favorites of this bracket. I mean, we watch it at least 2 or 3 times a year whenever Christmas time comes around.
Yeah, it's really hard to disagree with you guys here. I mean, sure, Muppet Christmas Carol is nice. It's a great spin on the classic Christmas Carol story, and it's got a good acting from Michael Caine as Ebenezer Scrooge. But Christmas Vacation, well, that thing's just hard to beat. Even I can't argue against it. I mean, there are so many funny scenes, like the cat getting shocked and the squirrel running around after being found in the tree. I mean, every now and then you just laugh your pants off at it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That is, I mean, exactly. There's so many great moments, sledding after they put all the, grease on the bottom of the trash can lid and doing all that stuff. It's phenomenal. And I think that's why Christmas Vacation sweeps this round. And we're going to move on to our next matchup. To get to the Elite Eight, we've got a really fun one between two really iconic movies. We've got the number 4 seed, Scrooged, taking on the number 13 seed, Charlie Brown Christmas. Both of these movies are classics. I love both of these. I think that, you can't go wrong with Scrooge with Bill Murray, but you also can't go wrong with a Charlie Brown Christmas. Got some of the most iconic Christmas music of all time. What do you guys think about these two movies?
Okay, if I'm going to be honest with you, I've never seen Scrooged before. In fact, I've never even heard of it till today. Call me uncultured, but that's just how it is.
I haven't watched it either. Sorry.
Now, Charlie Brown Christmas, on the other hand, that's a classic.
I think so too.
I mean, I've been watching that movie ever since I was young, and it's just so iconic. The preparing for the Christmas play, the iconic Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Yeah, I mean, the crew behind the Peanut special, they really outdid themselves with it.
Yeah, for sure. I for one have watched both of these movies, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt that a Charlie Brown Christmas is better than Scrooged. You've got the iconic Linus and Lucy, man. That is a banger of a Christmas song. Like, just a piano, and you can't convince me that song is nothing short of 1 or 2 on Christmas song lists. So, of course, give me Charlie Brown Christmas. This is an upset, but it doesn't feel like one. This is 100% a sweep for Charlie Brown Christmas. So let's move on to our next matchup that we have in our bracket. And it is, of course, the 5 seed, It's a Wonderful Life, taking on the 12 seed of A Christmas Story. Let's hear what you guys have to say. A Wonderful Life, one of the oldest and all-time greatest Christmas movies of all time. And A Christmas Story, another classic that people love to watch within their families. What do you guys think?
Okay, I'm probably going to sound a bit silly for saying this, but I've never watched A Wonderful Life before.
I haven't either.
Oh no!
I don't know if it's really is it really a Christmas classic? Like, is it a movie that you're sitting around the fireplace and like, oh, let's watch A Wonderful Life? My family isn't like that. I gotta say A Christmas Story, because it kind of falls into the same lines of the Christmas Vacation movie, where it's like upbeat, funny, in its own right, and I don't know. I like A Christmas Story.
Yeah, I like it too. It's got
But I can't really say because I haven't watched A Wonderful Life. But
yeah, plus, if I'm being honest, it's easier to watch A Christmas Story. I mean, on Christmas Day, it's basically put on a 24-hour loop
That's true.
on TNT.
Yeah.
But aside from that, A Christmas Story, it's got so many iconic scenes in pop culture. You got like the leg lamp and the singers at the Chinese restaurant.
he's got the tongue on the pole too. That's my favorite part.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Who could forget moments like that?
Yeah, you guys raised some good points, and we'll allow that one to move on since you guys haven't ever seen It's a Wonderful Life. But I'm telling you right now, go home, watch that movie, and you're going to regret that decision, because it is one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time. It's so it pulls at the heartstrings. It is a phenomenal movie. Go watch it whenever you get home. Go watch it over this Christmas break. Go do something like that, because it is a fantastic movie. A fantastic movie to watch with your friends, with your family, with all that stuff. It's an older one. They have it in black and white. They have it in color, but it's a phenomenal movie. But we'll go ahead and move on to Christmas Story, since you guys have never seen It's a Wonderful Life. And let's move on to our next matchup here. Now we've got an interesting one. We've got the number 2 seed coming on that right side of the bracket with The Day After Tomorrow and Mickey's Christmas. Now I'll tell you what, I've watched both of these movies a lot, and I tend to lean more one way than the other. So what about you guys? What do you think about these two movies with The Day After Tomorrow and Mickey's Christmas?
Okay, here it is for the 3rd time in a row. Never seen The Day After Tom.
Isn't that a disaster movie? Where a tsunami engulfs all of New York City?
I mean,
how's that a Christmas movie?
Well, it's
what?
I honestly haven't watched it in a long time. So it's probably been since I was like a kid that I watched The Day After Tomorrow.
Bro, Mickey.
Yeah,
Mickey goes.
But I'm going to tell you right now, The
Come on
Mickey
now.
Christmas special, if you've never watched it, is so much fun. It just is.
I've actually seen it as a kid. It's got 3 amazing segments, each teaching us amazing lessons about the season of Christmas. It's an all-time classic. What more can be said about it?
Yeah, it's a great movie, and Mickey Christmas, it's a little bit of an underdog. It might truthfully be matched up against The Day After Tomorrow, but I think whenever you look at it, Mickey Christmas is a better Christmas movie. There's
Yeah.
a lot better moments. There's a lot better segments, just like you were talking about, Ivan. So I think we've got to give it to a Mickey Christmas. Fantastic movie. So let's move on to our next matchup here. We've got Jingle All the Way matched up against Elf and Will Ferrell. What do you guys think about these two movies? These are two classics. What do you think?
Elf.
Well, here's the change of pace, okay? I've seen both of these. But Elf, well, I'm going to be honest here, and don't hate me for saying this.
I hate you for saying this.
It's overrated.
Elf is
okay.
Elf clears.
I mean, sure, it's an okay film, I guess, but I just feel like it's just too talked about.
I think that Elf is so talked about because it is Christmas. Elf is the Christmas spirit. Will Ferrell comes into this movie, he kills it. You look at the story, it's an elf who was raised in the North Pole, who was way taller than everybody else, a total outcast, goes to New York City, is still an outcast, finds his dad, turns him into the Christmas spirit. This is a Christmas movie, Elf is. And I think that Elf sweeps. I think that, Ivan, we might could give it one game because you disagreed and said that Elf was a little overrated, but I think that you can look at Elf and say it's overrated because it's talked about so much, and that's because it is Christmas. Yeah. Elf is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, but I think you guys are missing how great Jingle All the Way is. It's probably one of the most relatable Christmas movies there is. You got the dad, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, trying to buy a toy for his kid that's all sold out, and during the time he's being chased by some angry mailman.
Well, I relate to Elf because I too was once a really tall guy in the North Pole surrounded by elves, but that's in the past.
Yeah, man. I think Jingle All the Way is a good movie in its own right, but honestly, I've never liked that movie. I've never watched it and been like, yeah, I think I want to watch Jingle All the Way right now. I think I've watched it one time and I'm like, you know what? I think that's enough for me. But Elf is an every year classic. Making hot chocolate, watching Elf, and I think that movie moves on to the next round. So let's move on to our next matchup in the Sweet 16. We've got the Polar Express. We've got the Santa Claus 1. This is going to be a heck of a matchup. What do you guys think about these two movies? Two classics with the Polar Express, hot chocolate going against the Santa Claus.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to be honest here. Polar Express, 2 words, instant classic. Like you said, the hot chocolate scene, that was amazing, all that choreography and the lyrics. And let's not forget, there were plenty of action scenes like the roller coaster, the sliding on the icy lake. And, of course, the adventures in Santa's workshop.
Dude, that hot chocolate looks so good as a kid.
It does.
As
It
a
looks so
kid,
good.
my God.
And besides, watching the Polar Express, I'm sure that's brought back a lot of childhood memories. Sometimes at school, what they do is a pajama day where you'd come in your pajamas and sit down and watch the Polar Express,
Polar Express is also low-key terrifying, though.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's creepy.
Yeah, I'll admit there were a bit of...
But it's different, Like, it's different than all the other Christmas movies.
Yeah,
and I can appreciate that.
Here's one way it's different. It's motion capture. Not many motion capture films have said that they're successful, but Polar Express, I'd say it can definitely say that.
Yeah, for sure. I, for one, am on the board where I'm not the biggest Polar Express guy in my entire life, but I think matched up against the Santa Claus, this one clears. I've never been a big Santa Claus guy. My fiance loves it, but personally, I'm just not a big Santa Claus guy. And I think that even though I'm not the biggest Polar Express fan in the entire world, this one definitely moves on to the Elite Eight, just out of sheer power alone of how good this movie is for everybody else that's ever watched a Christmas movie. So let's move on to our next matchup in the bracket. The final matchup here of the Sweet 16, and what a one to go out in. What a matchup to finish things off. The number 6 seed, Home Alone, the original one. We're not going to New York. We're not going anywhere else. We're staying right there at home. Home Alone going up against Jim Carrey in the live-action Grinch. This is a heck of a matchup between two powerhouses in the Christmas community. What do you guys think about these two movies?
Grinch, no question. That's the best iteration of the film. Okay, and for good reason too. I mean, you got Jim Carrey. He's an amazing actor. You know, he absolutely kills it as the Grinch. And you know, there's something about this film that makes it different from the source material. It gives the Grinch characterization. You know, we get his backstory. He was bullied as a child, and that made him upset. And basically, he grew to hate Christmas because that's the season where he officially snapped. And here's something else about the Who's in it. They're also different, you know. They're interested in the commercial material side of the Christmas season. And in one scene, the Grinch calls them out for it. You know, like, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Gifts. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, that's something about that. It gives him a justification for his actions, you know, why he hates Christmas. And most importantly, it gives the audience a reason to root for him. Okay, yeah, I mean, the original Grinch, he was a bit one-dimensional. You know, it's like he hates Christmas just because it exists. Yeah, this film, it gives us a Grinch that I don't think other adaptations really have. And I think it's really successful.
I'm going to say Home Alone because the more I think about it, it really encaptures the true Christmas feeling. And I enjoyed it so much as a kid, you know, watching those two guys just get beat up the whole movie. That's just so comical to me. And I still enjoy it now. Whereas the Grinch, it kind of freaked me out as a kid. And now I can appreciate the Grinch, but I'm still like, there's like 5 other Christmas movies I'd watch before the Grinch. One of them being Home Alone. I'd rather watch Home Alone.
Here's the situation we find ourselves in. Last matchup of the Sweet 16, bottom of the bracket. Which one do we select? I get the tiebreaker here. This is crazy. Home Alone is absolutely a classic. Home Alone is a fantastic movie. The Grinch is a phenomenal movie. And here's the thing. There is a certain actor in this movie that is so good at portraying green characters, and that is Jim Carrey. He portrays the mask, and he goes with the Grinch. I think the Grinch takes this matchup. Ivan, you talked about it perfectly. We have the Grinch personified here. So many different layers to his personality, so many different layers to his character, and I think without a doubt, the Grinch is the winner going to the Elite Eight over Home Alone. Both of these movies are fantastic, though. I think this is a 7-game series. If you're talking about, you know, World Series, you're talking about NBA Finals, this 7-game series, buzzer beater winner. I mean, I think that everybody that's in this room right now thinks that, you know, this is a 50-50 split between these two movies. And 100% the Grinch takes this one. So if we look at the bracket one more time, we've got all of our matchups set. Frosty the Snowman taking on Christmas Vacation in the Elite Eight, a Charlie Brown Christmas taking on A Christmas Story, Mickey's Christmas taking on Elf, and the Polar Express taking on the Grinch. And that is all the time we have for this segment. We'll be right back to the A-State Sports Stake Christmas Movie Bracketology Special right after this.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
Here to deliver the latest news on A-State sports, ranging from football, basketball, baseball, and more.
I'm your host, Tristan Harlan, alongside your other host, Cooper Melder.
Red Wolf Roundtable is your local sports source.
Tune in to Red Wolf Roundtable to get your fix on sports talk and news.
Welcome to the A-State Sports Take Christmas Movie Bracketology. I'm your host, Easton John, and joining me we have Marquise Esters and Jacob Tester. And today's show combines our passion of sports, bracketology, and Christmas movies. Let's take a look at our bracket and determine who we think will move on in the next round. So, guys, we had our Sweet 16. Let's start off with this. Rudolph versus Frosty, and Frosty comes out and wins. That's like Virginia and UMBC sort of matchup right there.
Yeah, I don't technically agree with it, but
Yeah.
I get handed with what I get to choose from.
They could go both ways with me. It's
Yeah.
just like it's close.
I myself would have picked Rudolph. I know,
Yeah.
Frosty the Snowman's a great movie, but okay, so we got Frosty the Snowman versus Christmas Vacation. Is this even like
No.
It's
up
not,
for debate?
no.
Is this even up for debate?
It's Christmas vacation.
I mean,
Vacation.
the Sweet 16 people, they hit it on the head on that one. So I think I'm gonna go with Christmas Vacation.
I mean,
Same here.
I completely agree with both of you.
Yeah.
It's a perfect side of the bracket for them. They kind of sweep through both rounds pretty easily. But even in other matchups, I still find it very hard to knock this movie out before at least the Final Four, unless we've just got some unholy matchup. But Christmas Vacation just ties everything together with the comedy aspect that it brings, so it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the Duke of all like March Madness
Oh
brackets.
yeah, big time.
Yeah. So Marquise, you go Christmas Vacation.
Big time.
All right, so let's move on to our next flick. We have a Charlie Brown Christmas versus A Christmas Story. Marquise, I'm going to start with you, my friend. What do you think?
Man, this is hard, but I'm gonna go with a classic Charlie Brown. I gotta go with Charlie Brown.
So I was stuck in between the fence on this one, and I want to make things interesting. So I'm going to go with The Christmas Story. Now, it has
Now, why is that?
more of a comedy aspect than Charlie Brown. I mean, I grew up watching Charlie Brown, and it's really hard for me to pick against it, but something about just A Christmas Story just makes me more interested in watching the movie, especially as of where I'm at right now. I seem more drawn into the interests of A Christmas Story than I do the Charlie Brown.
Let's take a look at these both these films now. We have Charlie Brown. I mean, just think about it. The famous Christmas tree. I mean, those things are sold all around the world. And I see those at like my local knick-knack store all the time during Christmas. And then you think about the piano scene as well, the little where they're dancing and stuff and all that. And when they come together around the Christmas tree and they say, "Hey, this is a tree that represents Christmas." And then you look at Christmas Story, the lamp leg, the Asian restaurant scene. Those are all-time classics. But I think I'm going to have to go with A Christmas Story on this one. The lamp leg scene and then the scene at the Asian restaurant is unbelievable. It cannot be stopped.
Congratulations, you get an A in the class
I know.
for picking that. Say
Yeah,
Mr. Sullivan.
I know. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So A Christmas Story, we'll move on to the next round. And now we look at our next matchup here. Is the Mickey Mouse Christmas Special and Elf. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen the Mickey Mouse.
You don't need to move on to the...
What is it like? What does it entail? What are the details behind this movie?
It's basically just tying a bunch of Mickey and Disney stuff along with like Christmas specials, and has certain little big Disney fans would really enjoy this as it ties a bunch of things in together with just making it all Christmas story based. But when you kind of compare it to Elf, it's really not close. I mean, Round of 16 group kind of really scared me when they were talking about Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
A little bit. I was getting a little concerned that Elf wasn't going to make it out the first round, but now that it is, it's a clear move on to
Elf is.
You gotta be big time. Elf, like, it's one of the movies I grew up watching, and it's like one of the movies I keep on watching every time. So I gotta go with Elf.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Elf too on this one. I mean, one of my favorite all-time movies and one of my favorite actors of all time,
Yes.
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell is.
It cannot be stopped. And now we go over and look at our next film for the bracket. We have The Polar Express versus The Grinch. Now the Grinch is having a tough road. First, they got to go beat Home Alone, and now they got to go up against a powerhouse with The Polar Express. Marquise, start us off strong, my man.
This one is hard, but I think I'm going to go with The Grinch.
Why is that?
Cause like I said earlier, it's like on the Polar Express, the puppet scene. it kind of scared me when I was a kid. It freaked me out. It was weird.
You got a little terrified because of little wooden fake puppets. It's a movie.
I
It's
know it's a
not
movie.
real. It's not.
I
gonna-
was a kid,
If that happens
but-
in real life, I might as well just hurl myself from a building. But
But The Grinch, Jim Carrey is one of the funniest actors of all time.
all right.
And he's one of my favorite actors. And can't go wrong with The Grinch.
Yeah, I mean the Polar Express. Or Jacob, I'm gonna go with you now.
It's got to be the Polar Express. Everyone keeps bringing up this horror aspect of the Polar Express. It's supposed to be there. That's the point. I don't know what to say about that. That's why they put it in there, is to have that emotion in that movie. Polar Express has one of the best stories of just movies in general, not excluding the fact that it's a Christmas movie. And I know pretty much all of us watch this in school at least once. So I mean, it has the background of all of us having connections to it. It has a great storyline. It's extremely well produced, especially for the time when it was made. I think adding all those factors together, you have to go with Polar Express.
Now I'm not swayed. I need a little bit more persuasion from both of you guys, Marquise. I need a little bit more with the Grinch.
See, The Grinch, the Grinch got bullied, and doesn't matter, like, what he do is bad, but you can also, say in your house, like middle school, where kids who got bullied all the time. For kids, who got bullied and go through the same thing that the Grinch did, it connect more than for them. And I think that everybody used to watch The Grinch, even whether it's, Jim Carrey version or any type of version, it's something like every kid watch.
Exactly. Jacob, more thoughts about the Polar Express?
For the Polar Express, we've only mentioned this topic for one other movie, and that was The Elf, the embodiment of the Christmas spirit. The Polar Express ties the imagination of Santa Claus for every kid's dream to get on a magical train, drive across ice, maybe lose some balance, run into some reindeer that are crossing, ties all of that together, makes you believe in what you want to believe, and that is the embodiment of the Christmas spirit, and the Polar Express incorporates that perfectly.
I have reached a decision, and I am going to have to go with my gut here on this one, and one of my favorite actors. Yep, you already know. I mean,
a disaster of a show.
The Grinch will move on into the next round. I love The Grinch. Jim Carrey's impersonation of him is hilarious. The effort that he had to put into this movie, the faces that he had to make this film funny is just unbelievable.
It gotta be heavy, the makeup he wore on the set. It had to be really hot and.
Oh
really
my gosh!
heavy.
Yeah, just imagine all of that costume, all that fur and stuff on you, and I mean he had to go through a lot for this film, and I actually watched this movie last night, so I was kind of swayed by that as well on HBO Max. So we have the Elf movie versus the Grinch, and Christmas Vacation versus Christmas Story. What do you guys think? What are your guys' hopes and dreams for this final four crew to come out here? What do you want them?
It's gonna be tough.
It's
gonna be
honestly
tough.
that four right there is in my top three. One of them is not in there, but there's four of those are in my top three. But yes, that is what we have come to conclusion. We have Christmas Vacation versus A Christmas Story, Elf versus the Grinch, and that's all the time we have for this segment. You've been watching A-State Sports Take. Christmas Movie Bracketology Special. We'll be right back after this.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
Here to deliver the latest news on A-State sports, ranging from football, basketball, baseball, and more.
I'm your host, Tristan Harlan, alongside your other host, Cooper Melder.
Red Wolf Roundtable is your local sports source.
Tune in to Red Wolf Roundtable to get your fix on sports talk and news.
Welcome back to the A-State Sports Take Christmas Movie Bracketology Special. We are here with the Final Four. I'm Austin Sweat here with Steven and Syed, and we're here to break down this Final Four. It's been a journey so far to see some of these takes. Some I agree, some would not. But first, I think we have one of the toughest matchups, one of the best matchups in this entire series, this entire bracket. We have Christmas Vacation and A Christmas Story, two utterly fantastic Christmas movies. And so I want to hear what y'all think first.
You can tell me first.
All right. For me, growing up, and this is one I always bonded with my dad a lot, was over the Red Ryder BB gun. I'm taking that all the way. Maybe not all the way, we'll see, but that is my vote for A Christmas Story.
See, Christmas Story is a fantastic. It has some of the most iconic things. You'll shoot your eye out. It has the Santa at the mall, you know, the typical scary Santa, and he kicks him down the slide. Triple Dog Dare. It has so many such iconic things. And, you know, recently it's come out with a sequel, which I had watched recently, and is fantastic too. And I think it really just adds so much to Christmas Story, which is why I have an extra special place for it right now, having seen that sequel. But I don't think we can dismiss Christmas Vacation yet. I want to hear Syed's thoughts first.
So I personally think Christmas Vacation wouldn't have reached over here firstly if Rudolph was there. So the decision of removing Rudolph was, I don't think I think it was a better movie. I think it would have reached top 4 for me. But I would say Christmas Story over Christmas Vacation, because growing up when I was back in my country, so that was the movie that I watched and I preferred it more. I have watched Christmas Vacation as well, but the storyline of Christmas Story is much, connected towards a teen boy, and when you're growing up, you would want to watch those adventurous things that has been done over there. So my vote is clearly for Christmas Story.
And I don't think Christmas Story's impact on Christmas movies, or it's like just self can be denied itself.
Yeah.
It just demonstrates the love of growing up as a kid, experiencing Christmas, wanting that perfect gift.
Yeah.
And the whole time he's told, oh, hey, you can't get that, you'll shoot your eye out. And it has so much just iconicness. And I think that's where my vote would end up going, but I can't discredit right now for what Christmas Vacation does, because it is a great player out here. It nails down the comedy. It is one of the funniest movies I've ever watched.
It is good to watch with the family. But
yeah,
but I would still say that Christmas Story.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
But it has so many iconic stuff itself. The rant he gives when his boss gives him the jellies instead of the bonus. The sledding, as we mentioned earlier, so much of that movie has just so much rewatchability and so much, just comedy. But I think as Christmas stands, Christmas Vacation is such an iconic Christmas movie, and I honestly would put it to go all the way here too. But we'll have to see how it comes up in the Final Four. But we'll have to get to this next matchup first. But I'm with you guys. Christmas Story here is just the more iconic and just such a good Christmas movie. So next up, we have Elf and The Grinch. The Grinch has been a dark horse so far. Like, I'll be honest, I would not have put it beaten Home Alone. Not in a million years.
I would agree to you. I would completely agree to you. But over here, I think the two movies that we are left with, I think Elf clearly should be the one that should be reaching to the final. I think Elf is a movie that totally describes Christmas. Mm-hmm. I love Jim Carrey. I love the acting that he has done in the movie of The Grinch. But still, growing up when I saw that movie, I was not like, happy to watch it. It was like freaking me out at some stages as well. But in terms of Elf is a movie that defines Christmas for me. I think the storyline of Elf is pretty amazing. And I would say that Elf should even win this competition. Wow. For me, Elf is the best movie so far over here.
Man, yeah, I'm feeling two different emotions. Both in my heart is the Elf and then The Grinch. I love both those movies so much. Growing up, those were probably my top two. I love The Grinch. I love what he does in it. The snowball scenes with Elf, all the eating the gum off the sidewalk, the syrup pasta. Both those are so iconic for me. I think ultimately it wouldn't be right to the universe if I didn't put the Elf. I love The Grinch. I love it so much, but I think y'all bring up some good points. There's so many iconic scenes. There's so many funny bits in the Elf that I think it deserves justice to move on.
And even if you talk about Grinch, I don't think anyone else could have done that role of Grinch better than Jim Carrey.
No one could.
That was a perfect role for Jim Carrey, but still, Elf is much better.
Like, I've seen an interview, and the face he makes, obviously, the green is makeup and everything.
Yeah.
But the face he makes as the Grinch, that little grin, is completely him. Like, there's no makeup for that grin. And that's kind of eerie because I remember he told a story. He was out in public and a little girl and her mom are there, and the mom notices Jim Carrey. She's like, "Hey, you know who that is? That's the Grinch." And he just breaks out that face and he's like, "I must find a way to destroy Christmas." And even the mom was saying about it, she's like, "Oh, I thought that was makeup." And the Grinch is iconic.
Yeah, it's
like
a tough
I will
decision.
take away nothing. Jim Carrey is fantastic in that
Good
role.
movie.
However, I do feel that he plays a very similar role a lot of time. That very just kind of chaotic
Yeah.
role. We've seen it in all of his movies.
In the mask.
But
Yeah.
I just feel like Elf, as you said, captures the Christmas spirit perfectly.
Perfectly.
It's the same with Christmas Story. That is also Christmas.
Yeah.
And also it's a fun premise. Jon Favreau, fantastic directing
Yeah,
in
it's
it.
a very good one.
And we've seen him direct so many wonderful things that all of us enjoy. He's
And-
the one who kickstarted all of Marvel movies that we love, and so I don't think his directing can be faulted here. And so I just think Elf has that just passion because we see, you see this human who ended up sneaking in Santa's bag as a baby and grew up there thinking he's an elf, and it's like, oh hey, you're not. And, it's that funny scene. Like, of course we know he's not because he's way taller than the other elves.
So basically, I would say that we have lots of Christmas movies, and Christmas Story is like one of them, which connected to Christmas. But the prospect that Elf brings in, the prospect of elves living, and the way he grows up with them, it is completely different. And I think that's why it brings a completely different vibe to the stage.
And it's also really sweet how his father's that cynic who's like he's bogged down by all the business and things he's been doing, and then his son comes back into his life and just brings up so much joy back to him.
Yeah.
And I just think I think at the end of the day it's also a really sweet story and does a lot. And so I guess we will put Elf there, and so that's going to bring the finals
final twos.
to Christmas Story and Elf. Another fantastic matchup. It honestly, this could have gone a lot of ways, but I think this is a very worthy end. And so I think that's about all the time we have. We will be back with the finals. So we'll be right back with this A-State Sport Take Christmas Movie Bracketology special for the finals.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
Here to deliver the latest news on A-State sports, ranging from football, basketball, baseball, and more.
I'm your host, Tristan Harlan, alongside your other host, Cooper Melder.
Red Wolf Roundtable is your local sports source.
Tune in to Red Wolf Roundtable to get your fix on sports talk and news.
Welcome to the A-State Sports Take Christmas Movie Bracketology Special. I'm your host, James Lowry, and joining me today is Ellie Britt and Caleb Gullahorn. How are y'all doing today?
I'm doing great.
That's great, man. Today's show combines our passion for sports bracketology and Christmas movies. Let's take a look at our bracket and determine who we think will move on to the next. Well, who's going to be the champion, basically. So let's get this thing rolling. We've had some big upsets, I would say, here in this movie bracket.
No doubt.
We have the movie Elf, and we have A Christmas Story. So two Christmas classics, two very family-oriented movies during this Christmas season. Who are y'all taking in this, all the marbles, all of the gold? Like, who's taking this here in this final matchup for Christmas movies?
Who's taking it home? So honestly, I've never seen A Christmas Story, and I've never been a fan of Elf. So if I had to pick, I'd probably pick Elf just because I haven't watched Christmas Story, but I've never been a super big person on the Elf.
Gotcha.
Personally, I think it's not my style.
It doesn't scream Christmas to you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do like the good backstory, though, of like how he was the outcast of it. I really do agree with that, though.
Well, for starters, you gotta go watch A Christmas Story then. Since you haven't seen it, you gotta go watch it. I mean, that movie has so many funny moments in it. From whenever he was helping his dad outside with the car and everything, and he said fudge. From whenever he walked downstairs and he's wearing this pink bunny suit. I mean, there's so many just funny little moments in that movie. But with that being said, I still don't think it's a better movie than Elf. I think Elf is like a perfect Christmas movie. I mean, it's always on year round, around Christmas time. And I mean, it's Will Ferrell. I mean, he's one of my favorite actors of all time. And I think he does a really good job of acting. I mean, he always does a really good job acting like a little kid on set and everything. And I mean, that's kind of what he was meant to do, a kid who just couldn't grow up. And he had to grow up in the city of New York and stuff, found his dad and everything. Just a really good movie.
Well, I was given a little food for thought before we got on set here. Ralphie, Peter Billingsley, the guy who plays Ralphie, is in both movies. He's the head elf in Elf, and he's playing the main character of A Christmas Story. So you can say he's kind of the GOAT of Christmas when it comes to movies, because look at what he's did in A Christmas Story. Like, he's played a very classic, iconic Christmas character. And also, even though Will Ferrell is the ultimate person, he's the main character in the movie Elf, I mean, you still have a classic person in both movies. But if it comes down to me, I just don't get the purpose of A Christmas Story, honestly. I mean, he wanted a BB gun. Like, that was his main thing, the whole movie. Like, I want a BB gun. And I'm just like, I mean, back in those days, BB guns probably was a big thing. But I'm like,
The voice of God says all three of you failed this class for doing it.
Are you serious? Really? Really? But I personally have just never been able to get into that movie. And honestly, Elf either, but I've seen Elf, and I'm just like, okay, it's not something I just sat and watched the whole time, but to take this whole bracket, I'm going with Elf. Elf is going to be the champion in this one because, I mean, it's Will Ferrell. He's the ultimate actor. He's very funny. You know, really has found a way into people's homes, and this movie explains it all. So I'm taking Elf in this, in this big bracket. So
personally, if I had to pick out of the whole bracket, having been to Disney 9 times, I would have picked Mickey, but I'm not the one that was at the beginning of the bracket.
See, that's the thing, man. With that movie, you have 3 different aspects. Like, you have 3 different stories. It was either my final. What would be your finals?
My final would have been Mickey, but then again, I've been there. I've experienced what the serotonin is like. It just gives me a sense of, like Ivan said earlier in one of the earlier segments, it's good, like, childhood. It brings back memories, brings back different things. But I guess you could say having the final of Peter Billingsley just being, like, top of both of those movies, it really explains for him as an actor how good of an actor he is, being, like, obviously in the top of our bracket on both sides of it.
Caleb, what would be your final?
There's a movie that didn't even make it out of the first round that I thought should have probably won this whole tournament, and that's Home Alone.
I do agree.
Really don't understand how we're going to take Grinch over that. Yes, Grinch is a big staple, but still, to me, Home Alone is the best Christmas movie. But going between Elf and going between A Christmas Story, I think Elf is definitely the superior movie in that matchup. But I would have never had either one of those movies in my final.
My final would have definitely been Polar Express would have had to be in there. Who knows what kind of train comes in the middle of the night, wakes kids up, and just go to the North Pole? Like, what?
It kind of sounds bad now that you say it.
Not bad at all. I definitely would have snuck out of my house and would have went and just to see Santa. I know I personally would have done it. Well, hey, where's James? I don't know. I went to the North Pole. I was in my bed all last night. I would have lied to my parents. I'm sorry. Kids don't do that. But anyway, still, it's the Polar Express. What kind of train do you know? It makes a train track in the middle of the road and goes to the
It takes it on the ice, too.
Yeah, exactly. So. Like, that would have just been the ultimate. dream for me. But the other movie, I definitely agree. Home Alone, like, I love The Grinch, but Home Alone,
That's where
it's
it's
a
at.
staple. Like, he was left at home alone and beat up 2 grown-ups. Like,
Come on. Like,
that's every child's dream, in my opinion. Especially if they're trying to rob you. Like, so, hey, that's all the time we have for this show. Thanks for watching the A-State Sports Take Christmas Movie Bracketology Special. On behalf of Mr. Sullivan and his sportscasting class, we'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thanks for watching. Wolves up.